I'm here on the penultimate day of General Convention number 79 with the Reverend Jim Flowers. Jim is the rector at All Saints. He is a child, actually, of the parish where I serve, Nativity in Dothan. And Jim is going to give his perspective on convention. We've just finished up the last legislative session of the day. And Jim, tell me what's fed your soul the most while you've been here.
Well, we're so insulated in our own little parishes, and when we engage the broad church, I'm just inspired by being with a lot of Episcopalians, and I think specifically the intelligence of the Episcopal Church, and by that I don't mean IQ. I just mean thoughtful people that think things through and care about what they're doing, and they do it with commitment and courage. And I'm just always inspired by how deeply our church cares about matters that affect our world and our worship and having a good time too.
Tell me what the high point of convention's been for you so far.
Well, I've been thinking over the last really 15 or 20 years that our recognizing that our theology evolves and that the prayer book is being expanded through the permissive rubric, and now we have officialized producing more rights for use in the church to just hold up the richness of our worshiping life, and to see that enthusiastically embraced gives me hope that our church will have a broader reach of diversity.
All together, we're going to close up as soon as we can.
Good. Great. The last thing that I'm asking everybody is, what is it that you want to take back to the diocese from this?
Oh gosh, maybe just the idea that we are a integral part of a larger mission. That the small things that we do where we are on Government Street in Mobile, Alabama, connects to this larger mission of the church, and that small acts that we do have ramifications beyond our knowing. And I think the General Convention is kind of an outward invisible sign of that.
Great.
All right, brother.
Appreciate it. This is my last interview of General Convention. It is with the chair of our deputation. Russell has already given me his final word, but that will be the last video that we post, and that'll probably go up around noon tomorrow. But in the meantime, we will hear from the Reverend David Knight. This is David's 5th General Convention. He served as the chair of our deputation in the House of Deputies, and he is the rector at St. Simon's on the Sound in Fort Walton Beach. David, thank you for doing this.
Pleasure.
I'm going to ask you the same 3 questions I've asked everybody else. What's fed your soul the most while you've been here?
Well, before I answer, I really want to say thanks to the people of the Diocese of Central Gulf Coast for sending all of us here and entrusting us as your deputation. And to say this deputation has worked really hard and done very important work. We served a variety of committees. Peter and I basically on 2 committees that kept us going all day long, but everybody worked really hard and conscientiously, and we got together every day to talk about topics and have just worked really well together. So it's really been an honor and privilege to serve the people of the diocese. And thank you, Peter, for doing these videos and these communication stuff. It's been good stuff for the people back home. What's fed my soul? The answer to that might be the answer to every question you're going to ask me, and that's really, I'm just very inspired by where our church is now. I've been ordained 16 years. As you said, my 5th General Convention, but I do think there's something that Bishop Curry brings to us that just shifts us in the right direction. He calls us, obviously, all the time the Episcopal branch of the Jesus movement, and I think we're finally getting it. And something I've been saying my whole ordained life and before is that we got to make the main thing the main thing.
Yes.
And that's Jesus, and that's love. And he keeps pounding us on that in his very unique way. And I think people are getting so excited about that. And he's just such an inspirational leader. And the royal wedding kind of launched the Episcopal Church into the public eye a little more than it had been before. So just being here with him and watching how all the bishops react to him and all the people do has me very excited about the future of our church. I think we have a very specific and wonderful role to play in life in this country and in this church. And I've been very inspired by seeing that kind of play out amongst everyone here at GC.
Good deal. I'm going to ask you to pick a single moment as a high point for this general convention for you?
Gosh, I don't know if I have a single moment. I do think I don't have a single moment. It's this. I wanted to talk about the revival the other night.
Talk about the
which
revival.
was
I mean,
pretty
that's a great
amazing.
moment.
Such a different kind of thing for us as Episcopalians, and kind of a little bit from my previous to Episcopal background. I kind of went back to my roots a little bit, but to have someone who could lead us in that, the music was quite different than what we normally have on Sunday mornings. But people were excited and were clapping and singing and praying and watching our bishop deliver his message, and that amazing interpreter who interpreted in Spanish for us. Folks, if you haven't watched that, you've got to watch that sermon. It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
And just the way the Spirit, Holy Spirit, was so evident and present there with us that we can actually do that as Episcopalians and live to tell about it. So and it was a lot of fun.
And as a shout out to the interpreter, her name is Denora, and she was actually in the committee that I served on as a liaison. She was in program budget and finance, and so for 2 weeks she has been interpreting figures and facts and budget line items and all this other stuff, not only out of that language into English, but then into Spanish for the people there. Denora has been fabulous, and we are grateful to all the people that make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
There are translators for Haitian Creole,
Right.
for French, for Spanish, and those are an integral part of what we do at General Convention.
Yep.
So tell me what you want to take back to the diocese.
Well, that saying, that sense of that spirit and that inspiration, and our being able to really narrow and focus on the main things that can grow our church, but more importantly than growth is influencing others to come to know Jesus in whatever way that means for them. Also, it was to me as we said, my fifth convention. The demographic seems to be much younger. There were some very wonderful testimony by a lot of women here. We dealt with a lot of issues that have rolled over from the Me Too movement into the church, and their passion and their inspiration on that was just exciting to see. And if stepping into leadership roles, I think that's going to be great for the church and something we can take back home and maybe raise up our young girls to know, you can do anything you want to do, and this church can lead the way in that.
Great. David, thank you. It's been a pleasure serving with you.
Yes, sir.
It's been a pleasure reporting back to all of y'all, and we will see you back home soon.